I'm here with my friend Dan Kaminsky today. We're at the Feria. Dan is one of my bicycle friends. He rode with me on my 76th birthday ride up to the top of the volcano. But unlike the rest of us, he rode all the way from here in Grecia. So he's younger, bigger, stronger than I am. Dan is a digital nomad. And we're going to talk to him today about his experience, how he makes that work, and how he came to the decision to move here to Costa Rica. So, Dan, what was it that got you to decide to come here to Costa Rica?
The short answer is a girl. So I was working at Hewlett Packard, and they have a huge satellite facility in Heredia. And so I worked with 100, 150 people from Costa Rica every day. And yeah, there was a girl here, and we worked together, and we started talking. Through another mutual coworker, found out, oh, she likes me, I like her. And so her and other friends said, you should come vacation here. I'm like, okay. I think it was October, and I was in Idaho, like northern Idaho. I'm like, twist my arm.
Yeah.
So I came here for 2 weeks. I stayed in Heredia, but we went to Arenal, to the hot springs there, and see the volcano. We went to Conchal, we went to Guanacaste, and a few other places. And because we went to Guanacaste and also Arenal, we drove through Grecia. And so we were talking, oh, it would be amazing to live in Grecia, right? Opposed to San Jose or Heredia.
Right.
And within a month after that trip, since I was already working from home, and this was 6.5, 7 years ago, a long time ago.
Yeah, that's about the time I moved here.
I was working from home. Within a month of my vacation here, I put my apartment, I own a duplex, and I put it on Airbnb, got a renting, and within a month I was living here in Grecia with her and her 4 or 5 year old daughter.
So, in my video talking about my experience here, I talked about getting residency and getting a sociedad, an LLC, and buying a property. You've gone exactly the opposite direction. And I'd like you to talk about how you are doing it here and why.
Sure. So I'll give a little bit of background on what I have going on in the U.S., and that's some of the reason why I don't want to embed myself 100%. Even when I first came here, this was 6.5 years ago was the first time I moved here and lived in Grecia. I had a number of rental houses in the U.S., so that's kind of my retirement. Keep that in the U.S. And like I said, I have my corporate digital, engineering job. So that works out really well for me because I can do that from here. It's seamless. I go back to the U.S. once a quarter, about once every 3 months to show my face around the office and meet with people and keep those work relationships going. So that's important. So I go back every 2 or 3 months, 4 months at the longest. Right now is the best weather in Costa Rica and the worst weather in the U.S.
Yes.
Because what is it? It's
they're having a brutal cold front again right now. That there's some place in the United States I saw this morning, minus 60 degrees.
I don't even know about that, but it's mid-February, right? So I'm not going to go back for about a month and a half and then go back to check on a couple of houses. So I go back all the time, every 2 or 3 months. This is the longest stretch. This is 4 months. But I went to Mexico a month ago, so that renews my visa.
Talk to me about the current visa. When I first moved here, I think it was 3 months every 90 days. If you weren't a resident, if you didn't have your residency, you had to make a border run every 90 days. But you just told me
it's 6 months now, including driving time. So you really only need to do that border run twice a year. But I go to the U.S. or other countries every 2 or 3 months. So it's seamless. I go to the U.S., come back, and my visa is good for 6 months. I don't have to leave, nothing. So there's a few reasons. 2 years ago, I met my current girlfriend, and we're very happy together. And so now I live here full time. In the past, I planned to just live here only for U.S. winters.
Yeah.
But now I'm here full time. And 2 years ago, I was collecting all my documents and preparing for residency. But I talked to a couple of friends who are like, yeah, I pay into the Caja. So on top of, say, $2,000 a month to get your residency, then you pay $50 or it can be $100 a month depending on your income.
Exactly. And your income would have
My
been higher.
income,
Yeah.
if
But they only count the income you bring to Costa Rica. So, I mean, the only income I declare for the Caja is my Social Security payment.
Okay.
And that keeps my Caja payment pretty low.
So typically, to touch on that, I have a VA disability payment. So just like your Social Security, I could get residency based on that, and I could live here full time without my job. But I like the income that I have. Anyway, so 2 years ago, I was collecting all my documents, and I learned, well, you got to pay a couple grand, and then pay $50 or $100 a month. And right around that time, I was waiting on one more document from the U.S., and then they changed the visa from 3 months to 6 months.
Right.
I'm like, well, I go outside of Costa Rica at least every 6 months. So it's seamless. I have no reason to get residency.
And that might have, had that been the case when I moved here, I might have considered that. But I also, once I decided to buy a property, I decided that it was better to be a resident, to have the Sociedad, the LLC,
For sure.
here to protect my investment. Because with the LLC, I've given my son power of attorney, and if something happens to me, he can just take over so he can operate the Sociedad and do with the property what he thinks is a good idea.
Perfect.
Yeah. But if I just did it under my own name, it would have to go through probate.
No, it makes sense. And another reason why I don't have residency I'm interested is because as a military veteran, I have healthcare in the U.S.
Yes.
fully included. So if I need something major, I can just fly back there, stay in one of my Airbnbs for virtually free, and get the treatment I need.
And here there are good private medical facilities and care, and that's quite inexpensive compared to the United States. Especially, I have a MetaSmart card, so if I go see Jimenez, my primary care doctor, which I did yesterday, it only cost me $8 mil to see him.
Oh, really?
For an office visit, yeah.
Usually I pay like 25 or maybe 30 mil.
Yeah, exactly. And that MetaSmart card cost me less than $200 a year.
Nice, very good.
So Brian has MetaSmart. He got cataract surgery. He got the multifocal lenses for $1,500. When I got mine without MetaSmart, it cost me $3,000. So
that more than paid for itself.
Yeah, more than paid for itself. Okay, talk to me a little bit about your work experience here. How you're working here, how that's going, and are there any hang-ups? Internet access. Whatever the pluses and minuses of working as a digital nomad.
So in 2017 and 2018, I mean that's almost 10 years ago when I first started doing it. They didn't have fiber internet here. My first internet connection was 5 megabytes per second, BPS.
Ouch.
And it's pathetic. If you need to upload or download a large file, it doesn't work well. But it worked. It was okay. I could do my meetings. But if I needed to get something done on the computer, you had to be a little patient with it. But now, in the last 3 years, something like that, everything's fiber.
Fiber optics everywhere.
Now I have 200 meg. No, I just switched. I have only 100 meg. In the US, like a gig is kind of your baseline standard.
Baseline for fiber optics.
So you tell somebody 100 meg, they're like, can you even use that?
Oh yeah, it works fine.
It's great.
Yeah, that's what I have too. I have the 100 meg.
I have
It costs me internet, TV, and whatever. It cost me about 60 mil a month.
Okay. I believe it's 32 mil just for my internet.
Yeah, but I've got multiple things.
With your cable
that includes my phone.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So yeah, it's $60 per month roughly for internet, and I have a battery backup supply. It's like this big, And so my computer is plugged into that. My Wi-Fi router is plugged into that. So occasionally the power blips now.
Occasionally the power will just blip out because I no longer really work like I did when I had my film and television production company. If the computer resets while I'm working on it, it's not the end of the world, and I just go do something else around the house until the electricity comes back on and the router reboots.
I can't afford that.
Entiendo.
My role now is a senior technical program manager, and so I'm responsible for a huge amount of projects and teams, but also systems. So oftentimes I'm logged in VPN into systems, and I cannot have any interruptions. But with the battery backup, there's no risk, there's no problem, because now the power typically goes out for like 2 or 3 seconds.
Yes.
Whereas 5-6 years ago, it would go out for 10 or 20 minutes. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember. Yes, I remember all of that. And even when the electricity didn't go out, the non-fiber optic internet I had could just drop and be gone for however long. I don't know. And I thought, I'm glad I'm not working. So talk to me about the legalities of working in Costa Rica as a digital nomad. Do you have any restrictions whatsoever from the Costa Rican government or from U.S.?
Sure. One last thing on the internet is now, especially with 5G, I can tether to my phone and use the internet. So if I do lose my Wi-Fi, I can do that.
Indeed.
As far as legality, so on paper, I have my house in Heber City, Utah, and that's where I am a resident. That's where I live. So my job is based out of Utah, out of Salt Lake City. And so that's where I work and live. If I need to show up for work, I fly there.
Right.
Everyone knows, give me a week or two, usually, a heads up so I can get a deal. But sometimes I fly back in 2 or 3 days for a heads up meeting.
Do you have a favorite airline?
Oh, that's a long story. I don't think any of them are great anymore.
Yeah. I still like Southwest just because of the 2 bags free policy
and the cancellation
policy, which right now, you know, I'm supposed to be going to Thailand April the 2nd, and I have a Southwest flight to Houston on April the 2nd, and then I have a flight from Houston to San Diego on April the 9th. I did not buy my ticket to Asia because I was afraid that some kind of hiccup might happen, and I'm glad that I didn't. So because now there's been a hiccup, and I'm not sure if I can leave on April the 2nd. That's not a problem at all with Southwest. I'll just move. I'll cancel it, move it into my Southwest bank account, and rebook when I know that I can get out of here.
So I typically just grab the cheapest flight, but every time I go with Delta, I end up with a flight cancellation. I haven't had good luck, so I like Delta, I like Southwest. Anyway, but yeah, the legality part of it is that I file my taxes in Utah. I live there. If I need to show up for work, that's where I go. All my money goes to a U.S. bank account. Now, as a veteran, I have USAA as a bank, and they cover any ATM fees. So if I need to withdraw cash here in Colones,
I have free. USAA. I've had them for years for my insurance, but I quit using their bank. I was just getting ready to open a Schwab account so that I would not have ATM fees in Thailand. Okay. But maybe I should just call USAA and reopen my bank account there.
If you can. I would do that. Their customer service.
Hey, USAA. I love those guys.
Really good.
Yeah, so, I love USAA.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I pull out cash for free. I don't work here. I don't have employees here. So I'm on a tourist visa. I'm not a resident of Costa Rica. I live in Utah.
Right.
That's it.
So yeah, for me, my business is based in the United States, and so my taxes are filed in the U.S. Here, I have to pay legal fees, you know, for the LLCs multiple times a year.
Yep.
But the fact that my property tax this year for my house was only $215.
We both lived in Austin, Texas before we came here. I lived in Austin, Texas from 2011 to 2016. So I have 3 properties there. Each one of them, Jay, I pay per year over $10,000.
Yeah. Well, because I was over 65 and had a homestead, I was paying
Okay.
about, and because I kept my property value low by protesting every
I
year.
do every year.
And I was paying about $5,500. But the
That's
people
still
who
so much.
so much, and the people who bought my house, when they bought it, right, it went at nearly $600,000. So the property value with the county went from 165 because I was undervalued to nearly 600,000. They're probably paying $15,000 a year in taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, for any tenants, I'm not a terrible landlord. Literally $1,000 of the rent of those properties goes right to the state of Texas, just like that. Anyway, yeah. So I have those under LLC, so I know what you mean with your LLC.
So, is there anything else you'd like to say to somebody who is thinking about moving to Costa Rica as a digital nomad?
Yeah, a few things. So, the first off, you don't need the level of internet that you think you do. Just get a battery backup supply. You're golden. My biggest advice, though, is to come here for a vacation. Do it for a week. Try it for a week and make sure all of your IP addresses are whitelisted, that you can access all the systems that you need to at work. You need to verify you don't get flagged. IT security doesn't block you. You don't have issues there. But otherwise, I have a lot of friends who came here just for a month or 3 or 4 months. And it's seamless. You rent a house on Airbnb, something like that. I highly recommend it. What I don't recommend, I bought the cheapest car I could 6 years ago when I first moved here. Well, it basically I bought it with a bad motor, so I lost thousands on that. Then I brought my car here from the US, which the roads here, you need an SUV. You need something.
Thank you. I made the same
That's
recommendation.
beefy.
Yeah.
So my car is always broken. Don't bring a car from the US here. Just don't. Sell your car. Don't. I don't care the situation. I've lost thousands of dollars on that. And most of the time, I can't use it. And parts, oftentimes I need to wait a month to get them from the US.
Ouch. Yeah.
Like a radiator, I either need to get it built, like custom made here, or have one specially imported, for example.
Yeah.
So just, I have my bicycle, so Jay touched on it, but I will go 30, 40, 50 miles in a day on a bicycle. So I've gone all around the country on bicycle, but this year I have a motorcycle. I bought a motorcycle here. Now when it's rainy, it sucks, but when it's dry season, man.
And
it's
even
economical.
most of the rainy season, you got 6, 7, 8 hours in the morning where it's clear.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
where it's lovely.
So
that's when I play golf. That's when I ride my bike.
My motorcycle's 2 years old. It's a fifth of the cost of a car that's 2 years old here.
Absolutely.
So it's economical.
And you bought it here also?
Yes. So I really love that. So if you're planning to live here, buy a car or motorcycle here. And otherwise, you gotta take some Spanish lessons when you come here. That's huge. Just take for a month or two to learn the basics. And man, we're outside in a t-shirt right now. It's what, 9, 10 in the morning.
Yeah. It's right. It's February the 21st at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And this is it's actually particularly cool this morning.
It's fresh.
Yeah, but it's you can't beat the weather. I love the culture, the friendly people. It really does help if you will take the time to learn some basic Spanish so that you can order breakfast, so you can talk with the waiters. My Spanish is not great, but I can make myself understood for pretty much anything that I need to ask for. I sometimes have trouble understanding the ticos when they talk back to me. They talk very fast. Some of them have thick accents. And I just use. So yeah, learn a little Spanish. Get into and enjoy the culture. You'll love it here.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she's actually a local tica. She only speaks Spanish, so now I'm more or less fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, and that's a good way. That's a good way to learn Spanish. Get yourself a tica girlfriend or a Tico boyfriend, depending on what your preference is. So thanks, Dan. A lot of great information for any of you who are thinking about becoming a digital nomad in Costa Rica. Pura vida. If you like this video and others from 105-Minute Meals, please subscribe. Hit the like button and hit the bell button so that you get notifications when we come out with new videos. Pura vida from Costa Rica.